Hello, this is Brian J, and I just want to talk about HBO not doing live boxing anymore after 45 years of telecasts. This isn't surprising. The viewership for HBO boxing has dropped dramatically in the last 3 years because most of the fights are shit, and nobody really cares about the flyweight division. Most people really don't care about flyweights at all. And, American fight fans, especially black American fight fans, were just sick and tired of all the racial bias going on at HBO. Whenever, a black fighter fought on HBO, and if it wasn't, an exciting fight for a full 12 rounds, they would always rip into African American fighters and just put down their accomplishment, put down their victory. It's yeah, they won, but, they were just tearing down their victories constantly and constantly discrediting them and saying they need to do this and they need to do that. I mean, HBO has always been racially biased against black fighters. They've been overly critical of Roy Jones Jr., Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I mean, Floyd Mayweather used to love HBO. He said he was going to be on HBO for life, and he left because he was tired of all the negativity and all the hatred that he was getting from that network. And he went over to Showtime. He got a better deal. We got a $250 million deal, and he ended up making more money than that over in Showtime. And Showtime has made so much money that they've gained so many fighters, and Showtime actually respects American fighters. They definitely respect African American fighters and their accomplishments and what they're trying to do. They just don't go out of their way to shit on their product. If you're making a product, you're not supposed to shit on the product when you're selling the product. It doesn't make any sense. So HBO kept doing that. And even white Americans, weren't gravitating to HBO because, let's face it, Eastern Europeans are not American. They're not American white people. American white people can relate to white American athletes. Black Americans relate to black American athletes. And there are a special few American athletes that everybody can relate to, like Sugar Ray Leonard, a black man who was beloved by everybody. He was beloved by white people, black people, Latinos. It didn't matter. He was a superstar, and he had a lot of criticism for certain things, but people loved him. People loved him so much they wanted him to retire when he had the detached retina. That's how much people loved Sugar Ray Leonard, and really cared about him. Granted, he was a rare case, but there have been athletes like that everybody loved. And Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson back in the 80s. Everybody loved Mike Tyson. So, and HBO just drifted away from that. And HBO wanted to start heavily promoting Eastern Europeans to American fight fans because they were looking for this new foreign superstar like Manny Pacquiao. And they fucked up. American fight fans just stopped watching HBO and really started gravitating more towards Showtime. And what happened now with Showtime could happen. What happened now with HBO could happen with Showtime. If Showtime doesn't make the big fights happen and start really getting the best to fight the best, people are going to tune out, and people are just going to go over to MMA. They're going to go over to the UFC. I mean, I'm watching the UFC. I'm watching MMA. I watch women's MMA. I mostly cover women's MMA. I usually don't cover men's boxing because the best are not always fighting the best, so there's no point. I'm not going to talk about fantasy matchups or fantasy predictions. I want to talk about actual fights and do actual post-fight analysis of fights I want to see. I want to see Errol Spence Jr. fight Terrence Crawford. I want to see Terrence Crawford fight Keith Thurman. I want to see Keith Thurman fight Errol Spence. I want to see Deontay Wilder fighting Anthony Joshua. But, the best are just not fighting the best right now. I mean, we have Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury. That's a good fight on paper. That is the best fighting the best. But Tyson Fury did not look that great in his last two fights. And he fought bums. I mean, he hasn't fought a good fighter since Vladimir Klitschko, which was 3 years ago. I mean, I'll give Deontay Wilder credit for beating Tyson Fury. But I don't think Tyson Fury is as good as Anthony Joshua right now. But, it is what it is. As long as boxing struggles to get the best to fight the best, this is going to keep on happening, and the UFC and MMA is just going to take everything over. Everyone's just going to gravitate over to UFC and MMA. That's it. That's what everybody's going to be going towards, But yeah, I'm happy that HBO's finally gone. I was sick and tired of Jim Lampley, his blindfolding. He's so blind to what goes on to a fight, constantly hyping up the fighter that HBO wanted to hype up. Shitting on black American fighters and just trying to heavily promote Russian fighters. Max Kellerman has basically become a politician now. I was sick and tired of Larry Merchant. To me, Larry Merchant is a racist, but that's just me. Howard Letterman's scorecards got worse and worse. I mean, he was a terrible judge after a while, just got too old. And that's the problem with HBO. They were just old, and they did not change according to the times, you know. So I'm glad HBO is done. You know, there was a lot of great commentating in the past, a lot of great fights in the past that I could go back and watch, but it's all over now. And, you know, I'm happy. It's time to move on. Move on to Showtime, Premier Boxing Champions. I'll probably even start streaming on DAZN to watch Usyk fight Tony Bellew in November. Yeah, I'll watch that. I'll definitely look at that. But it's over, man. It's all over. And, yep, this is all I have to say about this. And this is Brian J. signing off for now.